trigger the golden Midas touch from India for astounding riches and abundance. From ancient India, there comes a great mystical power that can bring you riches and abundance. The India of today is totally different from the India of the past, when Maharajahs ruled and accumulated vast treasures from all over the world. These rulers of India were instructed in the mystical arts of that vast continent by great masters or gurus, some of them traveling to India from Tibet. By using these mystical revelations for accumulating wealth, you can apply the same rules that made these Maharajahs fabulously rich. They possessed the greatest collections of gold and silver the world has even known. In their palace vaults, they stored huge quantities of diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, and pearls. These learned Maharajahs knew the secrets for magnetizing valuable works of art and other treasures from all over the world. Masters of mystical secrets that brought untold wealth. In their processions through the streets of the main cities of India, their elephants were adorned with scintillating jewels and trappings of gold that dazzled the senses. These fabulous rulers of India were not industrial merchants or stock market investors. They were masters of mystical secrets that had been revealed by the illumined teachers of the past. And simply by sitting in quiet meditation and using the techniques that you are now going to acquire, they projected a stream of psychic energy and magnetized fabulous riches from around the world. I was fortunate enough to meet one of these great Maharajahs on one of my early visits to India. I was a guest at his magnificent pink palace, and he revealed to me some of the priceless mystical secrets that he had used to build his vast fortune. The secret power of psychic dream projections for wealth. He told me, when I was a young man studying at Oxford, I met a guru from a monastery in Tibet who was also being educated in London. This illumined master told me a secret method of psychic dream projection, which one could use to attain anything he desired. This method consisted of projecting mental images upon the invisible cosmic protoplasm of the universe of the things that represented money or value. This genetic programming of the higher psychic images duplicated the process in nature in which the cosmic mind we call God stamps upon an orange the duplicate of what is in the genetic structure of the orange seed, or any other seed in nature. By duplicating this mystical process, he claimed, we could project any dream for wealth or other things of value, and the cosmic intelligence would bring about the fulfillment of that psychic dream. In learning about this mystical process for creating wealth, I remembered the fable about King Midas. This myth actually reflects the mystical process that the Maharaja told me about. Now we shall study this mystical process for turning your dreams into riches and abundance. Step-by-step method for using the golden Midas touch. 1. Mentally review the fable of the golden Midas touch. You will recall that when King Midas did a favor for one of the gods, he was granted any wish that he desired. He asked that everything he touched turn into gold, and the wish was granted. When he touched the furnishings in his palace, they turned into solid gold. He touched the lace tablecloth on his dining table, and it instantly became shimmering gold. Then he put a glass of water to his lips, and the glass and the contents turned to gold. Now trembling, the king took a fork with a piece of meat on it, and they turned into gold. Suddenly the king became frightened, and when his 10-year-old daughter ran into the room and threw her arms around her father's neck, she turned into a golden statue. It was then that the king realized his greed had turned the golden Midas touch into a golden curse, and he asked the gods to remove it. 2. Now, mentally resolve that you will not become greedy, selfish, or miserly in your use of the mystical golden touch that you are going to use from now on. Take the millionaire's money now. Most millionaires have consciously or subconsciously taken a money vow, in which they made a pact with their higher minds to use their money for the good of the world. Back of every great fortune is this money vow. I vow that I shall use the mystical power of the golden Midas touch only for good. I shall help members of my family with my newly acquired wealth. I shall do good for humanity. I shall help the poor, the sick, the blind, the handicapped, and all others who are unfortunate. I shall use my money and power to bring peace and brotherhood to the world. I shall try to help others find justice and mercy. I shall bequeath my treasures to charitable institutions that are capable of doing great good for the human race. Mystical money vow behind the world's greatest fortunes. In appraising the value of this money vow, realize that all the great fortunes of the world have been accumulated by people who have, in turn, helped the world. The Ford Foundation is doing great good with the money that Henry Ford accumulated. The Rockefeller Foundation is doing research in medical science that may one day save your life. The Mellons, who built a vast fortune of millions, endowed one of the greatest art galleries to the world, where thousands of people can see these treasures from all over the world. J. Paul Getty, who was not known for being overly generous in his lifetime, left several $100 million to establish museums and art galleries where priceless treasures may be viewed by the public. Andrew Carnegie, who made his vast fortune through steel, gave more than 1,200 public libraries to the nation that made him rich, and then endowed the cultural institution known as Carnegie Hall for the performing arts. It was in this famous hall that I gave my lectures on mystical sciences to thousands and thousands of people over the years. 3. Now, prepare yourself for the mystical exercise that will attune your higher psychic mind centers to riches. Sit quietly in meditation where you will not be disturbed for at least 1 hour. Say the mystical mantra Aum, pronounced Om, 5 times softly, under your breath. Let the sound of the hum rise into the head area where you will be releasing the spiritual power of the 7th chakra, where your psychic third eye is located. 4. Breathe deeply and slowly, holding the breath for only a few seconds, and then exhaling it through the mouth. The inhaled breath can be through the nostrils, and the exhaled breath expelled through the mouth. Do this 10 times until you feel a deep sense of calmness within your mind and body. 5. Now mentally attune your psychic mind centers to money and things of value by thinking these thoughts and saying them quietly to yourself over and over, at least 5 times each. I now attune my higher psychic mind centers to money and things of value that I desire. I mentally project the sum of $1,000 on my mental and psychic screen. I now see the money in my hands. I count it carefully. I deposit it in my bank. I now see myself spending the money and buying things that I desire. Now you can mentally project larger sums of money on your mental psychic screen. You can say the following. I now project $5,000 on my psychic screen. I see the money accumulating in my bank account. I write checks on this amount for new clothing, a piece of jewelry, a vacation trip to Hawaii. I now project the sum of $50,000 on my mental psychic screen. I see a down payment on my dream home. I project opening my own business. I buy a new car and drive it. 6. You can mentally project sums of money on your mental psychic screen anywhere from $1,000 to $100,000, depending on how much confidence in this power you have built. Do not be afraid to ask for larger sums, for your higher psychic mind centers will respond to your wishes and desires. If you are timid and do not believe in this power to manifest larger sums, you will actually paralyze your psychic centers, and they cannot respond with creative ideas as to how you shall get these sums of money. Testimony number 6. Cyrus D. projected and received $50,000. Cyrus D. and his wife Lillian were students in my classes in psychic development. They had a desire to manifest wealth. Cyrus worked as a mechanic in a shop, and his income was limited to his weekly salary. He was afraid to try something new. Then, when he and his wife learned this method for psychic projection of wealth, they both began to work with the confidence that they would soon have the sum of $50,000. About this time, the man that Cyrus worked for had a severe heart attack. He made Cyrus the manager while he was recovering from his illness. Cyrus did such a good job and increased the income to such an extent that, when his boss recovered, he made Cyrus an equal partner in the firm. Here was the equivalent of the $50,000 Cyrus and his wife had projected to their higher psychic mind centers. He then set to work in earnest to show his worth, and within 1 year, his share of the profits was so great that he was able to pay a sizable down payment on a beautiful home and furnish it exactly as they had dreamed of doing. Join the ranks of the wealthy aristocracy. 7. You must mentally resolve that you will join the ranks of the wealthy aristocracy by using this mystical secret for building a fortune. When you begin to demonstrate some of the things you have projected to your psychic mind centers, sit quietly in meditation and begin to make specific demands of this higher power within your mind. Your meditations can be as follows, or you can make up your own powerful statements which you will recite in a low tone. I give thanks to God for the treasures He has sent me. I now project this psychic stream of riches into outer reality so that I can buy things of tangible value. I mentally project my dream home, complete with all the beautiful furnishings I desire. I walk through the rooms of my dream home. I see the furnishings in my living room, beautiful wall-to-wall carpeting on the floors, and exquisite drapes at the spacious windows. I entertain friends in my home, serving them on beautiful china in my dining room. My 3 bedrooms are furnished in good taste, with comfortable beds and beautiful furniture. I project a modern kitchen with all the utilities: a dishwasher, a beautiful stove, a modern refrigerator, a deep freezer, fine crystal and china, and the best silverware, with 2 sets of each, one for every day, the other for special occasions. I now project myself entertaining my friends at a barbecue in my spacious backyard. I see a playground for my children, with a fenced-in yard for their protection. As you make the above statements, you are mentally projecting your innermost dreams to the oversoul of the universe, where your desires are imprinted on cosmic intelligence that sets to work to materialize these things for you. Testimony number 7. Martha A. projected a partnership for $100,000. Martha A. worked as a nurse and made good money, but she wanted to increase her income so she and her family could have some of the better things in life. Martha began to engage herself in periods of psychic meditation, using the techniques given above, projecting the thought that she needed more money to educate her 2 children, to help her husband with the many burdens of running the house, and to eventually own a home of her own. One day, while sitting in psychic meditation, she had a graphic vision of a beautiful nursing home for wealthy elderly people. She seemed to be in that home, not as a nurse, but as the proprietor, owning it and running it. Within a month, she met a retired doctor who wanted to become active again in the medical profession, but not work as hard. He told Martha of a beautiful $100,000 estate that he contemplated buying, which he would turn into a nursing home. He asked her if she would like to go into the venture with him and run it in an equal partnership. This was exactly the psychic dream that Martha had had in her meditation sessions. The upshot of this psychic projection was that Martha was soon making more money than she had ever dreamed possible, and at the same time, doing good for suffering humanity. She bought her own home, owned an expensive car, and soon had enough money in the bank to assure her 2 children of a good education. Command and control the hidden mystical forces of the universe to bring you wealth. 8. In order to ensure that this mystical method of psychic dream projection will work its miracles for you, begin to practice the secret of your own psychic money and treasure vault. As you have learned that the Maharajahs of India used this method to accumulate their fantastic treasures, you can begin to duplicate their magical power through this treasure vault secret. You must begin to command and control these hidden mystical forces of the universe to bring you untold wealth. You cannot be lukewarm about it. You must sit down daily and give your imperious commands to this higher spiritual force within your own psychic mind centers. 9. Stand in front of your mirror and look at the projection of yourself. See that new image as being perfect, in command and control of every life situation. Now say aloud to that mirror image, I now command and control my mind to project on the psychic screen of the higher self these mental images. I desire money to use for constructive purposes. I desire a business of my own, where I can be my own boss. I desire a true soulmate in love that brings me happiness. I desire a home of my own where I can rear my family in comfort and security. 10. Now, obtain a box such as is used to put costume jewelry in by ladies, or a cuff-link box for men. Put a label on this box: My Treasure Vault. 11. Now, cut out 10 pieces of white paper, the size and shape of a dollar bill. Put in the four corners the sum of $10,000. The sum total of these pieces of paper is now $100,000. Each night, before going to bed, count over these pieces of paper, which become psychic money equivalents, for the sum of $100,000. When you wish to buy something that costs more money than you now have, count out the exact amount you will need in your psychic treasure vault. If it is $5,000, take out a $10,000 psychic equivalent note and mentally concentrate on it for 5 minutes. Say to yourself, I now project the sum of $5,000 from my treasure vault, and I wish to use it for the following purposes. 12. Now mentally review what you want to do with that money. See yourself purchasing what you need, spending it all for the purposes you have projected. As you need more sums of money, do the same concentration on sums of money from your treasure vault. When you have gained tremendous psychic power to project larger and larger sums of money, take 10 more pieces of paper and write $100,000 in each of the four corners. Now the sum total of your psychic money equivalents is $1 million. Draw from your psychic treasure vault the sums of money you need. Each night, before going to sleep, concentrate on these larger sums of money. Spend them and see yourself having the things that you have mentally projected in your psychic meditations. 13. You are now ready to place into your psychic treasure vault the various symbols of the things that you wish to project into your life. Write on a piece of paper, Deed to my dream home. Make out a list of stocks that you wish to own, such as 100 shares of General Electric, 500 shares of General Motors, 100 shares of U.S. Steel, 500 shares of American Telephone and Telegraph. You can obtain the current quotes from your local newspaper, so keep track of your investments, and then mentally see these stocks as belonging to you. Psychic Portfolio of Riches. 14. Now, each night before going to sleep, go into your psychic treasure vault and check over your stocks and your deed to your home. Also, put into this treasure vault a small piece of simulated gold. If you do not have anything of real gold, a piece of silver, a simulated diamond, ruby, emerald, and pearl. 15. Now, when you examine these symbols of wealth each night, give the following meditation. I now project to my psychic dream self that I shall have these treasures for my very own. I count these treasures and give thanks for them, knowing that my dreams are now being projected to the cosmic mind and being made a glorious reality. How to activate your psychic portfolio of riches. 16. When you have placed in your psychic portfolio of riches the things that you want to project to the world of reality, it is necessary that you have a ritual in which you activate this higher psychic mind power. Each night before you go to bed, sit before your treasure vault and the stocks, the deed to your dream home, the various sums of simulated money. Go over gold and jewels. Mentally make the following statement to fix these treasures firmly in your higher psychic mind centers. I am now aware of the treasures of the universe. I transmute these simulated riches for real riches. I enjoy money and the things money can buy. I now project these sums of money, these stocks and real estate, these jewels and other treasures to the cosmic mind of the universe, and I ask that they be manifested in my life to give pleasure to me and my family and to bless the world. Testimony number 8. John N. projected a fortune in his psychic portfolio. John N. was a gifted musician who played in an Italian restaurant in Greenwich Village, where the waiters sang opera as well as waited on the customers. John saw how the place was packed with delighted customers every night, and the owner was getting rich on his clever idea. John was originally from a big city in Texas. He used the projection technique given above. He had placed in his psychic portfolio the various sums of money and the deed to property and his dream home. He sat in meditation each night before going to bed, going over his psychic portfolio and asking his higher mind for guidance. One night, in his dreams, he saw himself opening a similar restaurant in his hometown in Texas. The place was crowded, and he saw himself accompanying the singers and reaping a fortune. When John awakened, he wrote down the vivid dream, and then waited to see what would happen. In 2 months' time, John found himself back in Texas. He met someone who backed him in the exact type of restaurant he had dreamed about. And in that first year of operation, he made $100,000. Mystomatic pointers. 1. For the next 2 weeks, have a daily money power concentration regime of 15 minutes. Concentrate on all the treasures in your treasure vault and quietly intone the money mantra 10 times. Om. Money. 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 Om. 2. Go on a psychic window shopping spree and claim all the beautiful things you see in shop windows as your own. 3. Stroll through a public park and claim it as your own with this statement. I now claim this park as my private estate to use and enjoy. I here and now take title to it. 4. For 2 weeks, every time you spend a $5, $10, or $20 billion, write in the margin, I bless this money. Then affirm to yourself, I release this money to do good, and it shall return to me tenfold. 5. Go to a local art gallery and look at all the beautiful art. Get to know the artists, study their lives, and enjoy the beauty that they represent. This will enrich your higher consciousness. 6. Visit your public library and acquaint yourself with the literature of the past and present. Know the authors' lives and realize that these treasures belong to you here and now. 7. Study the lives of rich people like Rockefeller, Morgan, Vanderbilt, Carnegie, Henry Ford, Edison, Baruch, Andrew Mellon, John Jacob Astor, Hearst, Chrysler, and others, to find out their secrets for growing rich.